We are here with Jason Wynne, Group Vice President of Modern Risk and Finance Product Development for Oracle Financial Services, as well as Andy Gingerich, Vice President of Financial Systems for the Bank of Oklahoma. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much.
Jason, it has been a wild few years in the banking industry with inflation, recession, regulatory changes, and some bank failures. What are the biggest challenges we are seeing for our financial services customers right now?
Well, I think for our financial services customers, their ability to be able to respond to this change quickly is probably the biggest challenge they have today. This change comes in extremely quickly. We look at what happened with some of the banks here around withdrawal of deposits and how that sort of occurred. That happened in a few days. We saw, the changes with COVID and then Ukraine war. Again, things happen very quickly. So the ability to adapt is probably one of the biggest things that they're dealing with at the moment. The other is that our regulators keep pushing more and more regulations on our financial services customers. So in terms of them being able to support those changes in regulations from providing data or whatever that might be, that's still a big overhead for them moving forward.
So, as our customers are facing these challenges, what are your top priorities specifically?
Yeah, so I work with our customers on trying to assist them in, I suppose, ensuring that they not only solve for those type of problems, but also solve for their business as usual problems as well. So one of our big pushes at the moment is finance modernization. So at Oracle, we have an end-to-end ecosystem of finance, risk, and treasury products that we provide to our financial services customers. That helps them with their accounting processes. It helps them in some complex things like asset liability management, funds transfer pricing, as well as risk calculations they need to do to provide to their regulators. And I suppose the key differentiator for us is that we try and help them get their data in a form that'll support them with those types of requirements, but also all of those other things that I talked about from a business as usual perspective.
Andy, having heard all of that, what are tell us first a little bit about Bank of Oklahoma and some of the challenges you're facing.
Sure, so BOK Financial is about a $48 billion financial institution, primarily providing wealth management, commercial services, as well as a core retail market of about 7 states. We're considered a super regional bank and headquartered out of Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Okay, and how's the Bank of Oklahoma looking at overcoming some of the obstacles that you guys have to face?
Sure. Jason brought up a great point about some of the bank failures that occurred earlier this year. We've always been great at managing our interest rate risk, but now it's just become more imperative to make the underlying data available for that management of that more accessible and more understandable to our analysts, because who knows what the next wave is in 2024. So,
what about the finance and risk modernization journey? Where are you on that? What lies ahead?
Sure. Another term that Jason used was being adaptable. When you have some of these 5, 10, 15, 20-year-old legacy processes, it's imperative that we modernize those so that we can remain adaptable. If it takes the accounting operations team 5 days to complete what we could be done in less than a day, why wouldn't we do that? Why wouldn't we speed up some of these back office processes? Because at the end of the day, it's going to make the customer experience better. If the customer has to wait on something for 3 days that we can get done faster, then we have to do it.
Jason, are you seeing this more frequently? What are banks trying to achieve with these sorts of initiatives?
I think Andy sort of summed a few of those things up, right? So there's an opportunity cost here. So the more efficient you can run processes internally for a banking organization, the more time you can spend with your customers, right? Yeah. So the more insights you can run, the more information you can give to your branch staff or your relationship managers, that then plays out on how you can better service your customers. So I think that although we're talking about what is usually considered back-end or corporate center type activity, it has an implication on how banks can then service customers at the end of the day.
Right.
you talked about some of the different technologies that Oracle provides, but talk specifically about how well positioned Oracle is to help with some of the challenges that Andy discussed.
Yeah, we're in a unique position at Oracle due to our size and I suppose the breadth that we have both from a horizontal application perspective as well as an industry perspective, and then obviously our underlying technology solutions as well, both from OCI and our Oracle database. When we wrap this together, we can build an ecosystem that provides an end-to-end finance solution for our customers. That is something unique to us and I suppose a differentiator from our perspective. I suppose the focus from our point of view needs to be how do we continue to invest in that to support our customers more and more in terms of how we build this out.
Sure.
Andy, you've delivered capability to meet your regulatory reporting commitments as well as, inside an agile and sustainable manner, a twosome there. So can you give us a little bit of insight into the benefits of that for Bank of Oklahoma?
Yes. Once again, speeding up the delivery and increasing the accuracy of that regulatory reporting not only empowers our employees to work on higher value tasks, it also increases the trust that the regulators can have in us in delivering those reports, as well as our shareholders, right?
Right.
And so when we enabled the reg reporting function in OFSA, having the Oracle Foundation's Data Mart, Oracle Financial Data Mart, as well as the reg reporting engine allowed us to start mapping those data attributes in a timely and more accurate fashion. And I kind of liken it to a flywheel. Once you get past that first deposit schedule, then you can do your next deposit schedule, you can get to loans and investments, and so we're happy to be on that journey and we look forward to its completion.
Jason, some of the recent changes in the banking climate have impacted the requirements on financial services firms. And how has that changed the insights they need to derive from data?
Yeah, I think that regulatory bodies are asking for more and more data, and to take into consideration ESG, or more specifically climate change.
Sure.
There are completely new sets of data that that banks need to be able to source from their customers and then report on as well. So I think it still comes back to this idea that if you can get your data right, and you can have a well-governed process that sits over the top of that I suppose your data repository, then you can start to generate those specific insights. And just a few of them is customer profitability is a key one.
Yeah.
Being able to have a good understanding of customer profitability will then drive how you move your business forward. And second to that, again, getting back to the point of regulatory requirements or even your risk profile, if you've got the data right, if something happens, you can move very quickly.
You can adjust.
You can adjust, that's
if
it.
you've got that data platform set.
Yep, exactly, yeah.
Well, thank you both. I can't even believe it. That flew by, but thank you both so much for joining us. This was great and super insightful.
Thanks, Kendall.
Yeah, thank you for having us.